Okay, so good morning. It's Kat here, and welcome to Catadactyl channel. So today, I know I haven't been on in a little bit, and that's because I am a teacher in Japan and the school year just wound down. So we're having our closing ceremonies and there's a lot of stuff to do. I'm really busy at work, so I have been reading. I just haven't had like a spare moment to film the books and the hauls and all that kind of stuff. So I hope you like this shirt because I'm going to be filming a slew of videos today and then edit them this weekend to get them up for you guys. So without further ado, I'm just going to jump into the haul that I did about maybe a month ago. So I went to one of my favorite stores in Hiroshima where I live, and they have quite a good English selection for living in Japan. So that means they have a whole row of English books, including children's books. So I guess the adult books are really like half of a row, but that's still really good for a Japanese bookstore. Usually walking through town, other bookstores will have like 2 English books and a Bible. So I was really happy to visit it. I went because I was picking up a friend, and so yeah. I spent so much money there that they gave me a free bag. So that's fine, I'll use it for groceries, but you know that you spend not too much, but you spend quite a bit of money when they give you the free stuff. So anyway, the store I went to is called Junkudo, and it's right near the Hiroshima bus center. So when all the buses come into Hiroshima from the airport, they drop you off there and you go through an underground passage and then up into a department store, and then there is Junkudo, which has the row of English books. So I did quite a lot. I spent about over $100, but hashtag no regrets. I threw in something I got in the mail from overseas. My mom put it in a package for me. So I'm a dive master back home. Oh, dive master anywhere, but I practice back home in America. I can't practice in Japan, but when you're a dive master, you get dive magazines, so I always use these magazines because they have full color pictures. So at school, as a teacher, you usually print in black and white because, you know, money, but look at these beautiful photos. So I take these photos to school or I hang them up in my classroom. I have 3 different classrooms, so it's just awesome. And the kids, I think, really get a kick out of it because usually I put the Japanese and the English for the different things. And yeah, but anyway, this isn't even about this, and the tangent is now over. So let's get on to the books that I got from the Japanese bookstore. Okay, so this month I'm reading Monsters for March, so I was really looking for monster books. So I managed to find 2 monster books. First one was The Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice. This book, I know that this is the second one. The first one is An Interview with the Vampire. I haven't read An Interview with the Vampire, but I saw the movie, so I was like, they didn't actually have the first book. They just had the second book. So I was like, what should I do? I've only seen the movie of the first book, but I was like, you never know when you'll find this book again because the selection at Japanese bookstores is really random. So I was like, you might as well just do it, you might as well just get it, it's right here. So I did, and this will be in Monster March, The Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice. And the next one that I found, I couldn't believe it when I saw it on the shelf. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to see that. It's A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. So not only is this book famous on BookTube, it's also getting huge acclaim abroad, but it's so famous now that little tiny Japanese bookstores are carrying it. So I haven't opened it yet. I think it's gonna be my next book I'm gonna read, but it's still in like the shrink wrap. So I know that the boy in the book, Connor, he's having a nightmare, and slowly you see a monster approaching, but I think is the monster really a monster, or is the monster something else in his life type thing? So this is one of the only books I'm reading for Monster March where it's not like vampire, alien, zombie, like that. So this is more like a mysterious, non-categorized monster. So I'm really looking forward to this book, and I was so happy to see it on the shelf. So thank you, Junkudo, for stocking this book. Thank you! Okay, so after that, there weren't really any more monster books, so I was just having a look around, and like I said, whenever I see a book that I've been meaning to read that's on my Goodreads shelf of to be read, like I have hundreds of books on that shelf, so if I see that book in a Japanese bookstore, more likely than not, I will just scoop it up because I never know when I'll see it again. You know, they might not stock it again if someone buys it, etc., etc. So, the next one is The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde by Junkudo Diaz. Oh, I hope I'm saying that right. But it's about a boy named Oscar, and he's overweight, sci-fi obsessed, and a total introvert. And I have heard great things about this book. It's pop culture plus a growing up story, plus his family's haunted by a curse, and it's won a lot of awards, and there's a lot of things in this book that sound like me growing up, so I was really hoping to find this book, and then when it was on the shelf, I was like, no way, that's awesome! And then I bought it, and I will be reading this probably next month. So I'm really excited, and yeah, I hope that it is great. Okay, so after that, So after that, I went into the realm of the section where it's talking about TOEIC. So if you don't know TOEIC, it is a test that Japanese people take to prove their English proficiency. So the reason why this book is shrink wrapped with like this weird orange thing around it is because it says if you can read this book, then you should be able to pass TOEIC level 600, or like you should be able to get a 600 English score. So there's a bunch of these books where for Japanese people it tells them, hey, if you are at this level, you should be able to read this book. So I'm curious because I know that this book is kind of like, well, first off, it's really popular. It's Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. So I've never read something by him. I know that he's also written The Remains of the Day, but for some reason I've just never really read him before. I think it's more because he writes about non-Japanese subjects, even though he is Japanese. So I'm really looking forward to it. I don't want to say too much, but it deals with children at a boarding school, and then something happens and they're forced to make life changes, and there's mystery and like all that kind of stuff. So I'm really interested to see, because I thought that this book would be kind of a difficult read, but then kind of like a surreal read, like beautiful, I was thinking. I don't know why I thought that, but if it's TOEIC 600, then maybe there won't be that many difficult words or like interesting words. So I don't know. I'm kind of really interested about this one. I'll probably read it next month. Yeah, so that's pretty interesting, and I can't wait to read it. Okay, the next one, and my personal favorite books are like sci-fi dystopian, like, so pretty much if that's ever on a shelf, I'm like, yep, you're mine, you're gonna be my baby, and I'm gonna adopt you and then read the shit out of you. So the next one is by William Gibson. It's Neuromancer. So I know that this is kind of like, it says, Case was the sharpest data thief in the Matrix until an ex-employer crippled his nervous system. Yada yada yada. So it's gonna be epic, and I know that this was the forerunner to a lot of other books, and I was really shocked to see it on the shelf because normally the shelves stock a lot of YA, children's lit, Bibles, that kind of thing. So like this sci-fi dystopian, I was like, ooh, nice. So yep, I got that, so that's great. Along the same lines, not really dystopian, I don't think, but it's Ray Bradbury, and I love Ray Bradbury, and it's The Illustrated Man. So I believe it's a series of short stories, and it said, yeah, there's 18 short stories, and it says tattooed skin, living cities taking their vengeance, technology awakening. So it's a bunch of things about technology and different things, and I'm really keen to read it. I read, obviously, Fahrenheit 451, but another of his that's my favorite is The Martian Chronicles, where it's, again, a series of short stories dealing with aliens, and some of the short stories are just so brutal, and like when I read it, I was like, whoo, what would I do in that situation? Or like, wow, that is a prickly pear of a situation that they have found themselves in. And then actually, there's a whole nother retelling of The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe within Ray Bradbury's The Martian Chronicles, and I remember I was in college when I read it, and we had just read The Fall of the House of Usher in my lit class, because one of my degrees is English literature. And so I sent it to my professor, and I was like, oh my gosh, like Bradbury reimagined it. And my professor was kind of like, a stuffy older dude, like he did his dissertation on, you know, Huckleberry Finn, so he's really like not contemporary, he's much more like an older kind of literature professor. So I sent it to him and I was so jazzed. I was like, what do you think? Like, how do you think it compares with the original Fall of the House of Usher by Poe? And he just wrote back one line, 2 lines. Very interesting, period. But not as good as the original, period. And I was like, wow, I think I was just burned by my literature professor. But I thought it was hilarious, and he was, yeah, he's stuffy, but he also thought it was pretty funny that like I sent it to him. Yeah, but so I'm excited to read this, really excited to read this, and I just love Bradbury, so I'm sure I will love it. I'm probably gonna read this in the next month or so, and yeah, I'm super keen. Okay, moving on. Okay, so this is the last book that I got at the bookstore, and again, this has been on my to-be-read list on Goodreads for a while now, and for May, I think I'm going to do May, how I did FF February, where one of the lead characters is a lesbian or has relations with another woman. I think for May, I will do so it's basically a man and a man. So obviously, when I saw this book, I was like, yo, right on, Japan, because honestly, they never stack LGBT books ever. So, it is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Allier Sons. So, I am so keen to read this book. I think it's going to be adorable. Like, look at all these recommendations, and it's popular on BookTube, it has great reviews, and it's just, Dante can swim, Ari can't. Dante is articulate and self-assured. And so, like, automatically they're set up as polar opposites, so I assume there will be some switching and changing and they'll help each other grow, and I think it's just going to be really cute and lovely, and I really can't wait to read it. I might give in and read it before May, but that's fine. But I'm trying to save it for May for the theme, because next month I have all the ones I just bought to read. So if I manage to save it for the theme, that would be great. If not, also that's fine, because I probably just won't be able to stand it and wait. But yeah, so that is the end of my Japanese bookstore haul. So if you've read any of these books, let me know what you think. And also, if you live in Japan and you know any other bookstores, please let me know, because I have the few stores that I go to in my city, Hiroshima, and then I have a few in Osaka when I go for work conferences, and I've been to a few in Tokyo when I went on vacation there. However, for the most part, I find that if I'm looking for specific books, like if I want one specific book, my choice is either to buy it online or to get it on my Kindle. It is almost impossible to be like, I'm gonna buy this book and go to the bookstore and take the book from the shelf. Like, it's impossible. So it's pretty much just like, you get what you get. When you go to the bookstore, there's no choice involved. I mean, there's no like wide array of everything. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this haul, and I also hope you like this shirt, because you're gonna see a bunch more videos of me in it. So I hope you have a great day and enjoyed this haul, and thank you Junkudo for all the books and also for the cute little tote bag, which I will use when I go grocery shopping. Have a great day, happy reading, bye!